Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for clicking a new video. Mine means a lot that you guys keep clicking. If you guys keep clicking, I'll keep making. And today, what we're really talking about is this episode 8. It's a great episode, especially compared to the past two, which have tried to masquerade as merge episodes. This is the first true merge episode, which it's funny, we saw at Final 10, which is almost like old school Survivor when they would actually merge at 10. Think All-Stars, think Thailand, think really the first 10 seasons. And I thought it was really fun. Tribal especially was fun, and we got our first true idol out, to me at least, in the post-merge since David vs. Goliath, right? I mean, we've seen these idol plays that have negated votes, but nothing like a Wentworth it does not count moment since David vs. Goliath. Of course, if you haven't already, like, share, subscribe, do all that good stuff because it's free, it's easy, and it really does help the channel out. Okay, so the first thing to talk about is when they get back to camp from the previous tribal, Yam Yam is just thankful to have survived yet another tribal where he was on the chopping block. It was another, I guess, kind of emotional tribal council for him, but not as emotional as it was for Frannie, who had to watch from the side as her best friend in the game and possible boyfriend was taken out by a dominating Ratu alliance of 4. Brandon and Kane felt like they were in control of the game, having taken away a number from Soka and given them, meaning the Ratu alliance, the advantage. But Yam Yam, Carson, and Carolyn knew that they, the quote-unquote Tika 3, were the ones truly in control because they could go between both Soka and the Ratu 4. We also saw Carson vomit before the immunity challenge, kind of showing that Carson is not doing too well, but Carolyn was willing to compete with him because they all had to split up into pairs for the challenge. So I guess that was kind of a cool moment. At the challenge, after they split up into pairs, they play as pairs, and at the end, the 2 pairs that are left standing will play in the immunity challenge. And at the end of the day, those 4 will essentially balance their feet on perches and try and stay up in the air. At the end of the day, it comes down to Danny versus Lauren, who were a pair themselves. And of course, we see Danny actually fart during the challenge on purpose, I think to throw off Lauren. I really don't know, but he does it. He gets everyone's attention and then farts. With Lauren right now, I don't know. This season is really weird. But of course, this doesn't faze Lauren, and she ends up winning. Lauren has immunity. She has a huge reaction. And so now, of course, this leaves everybody else up to go home, which again is great saying. I love that I'm saying that there's 9 people up to go and not just 4 or 5 people from some sort of weird merge split. Back at camp, Kane and Brandon felt like Ratu had the numbers to control the vote again, believing that they could pull in the Tika members for an easy voting block. They decided that they would vote for Frannie in order to make it a unanimous 9-1 vote. They also brought in Danny and Heidi for the vote as well. Danny and Heidi left their conversation with Brandon understanding that the 2 of them and Frannie would need to bring the Tika 3 together with them in order to create a 6-person majority. Danny and Brandon get along, so Heidi thought that it would be difficult for him to go against Brandon, but Danny said that he's willing to do it and even suggested him using his hidden idol to save Frannie and take out Brandon instead. Heidi went to Yam Yam to sway him towards bringing the Tika 3 over to the Soka side to help blindside Brandon. This put him in the exact position that he and Carson wanted to be in. Carson told Yam Yam that it's important that they don't make a move that burns bridges or risks their own game. Heidi informed them that Danny has the idol in hope that it would convince them of the plan and assure them that it will work as a blindside. This information made Yam Yam consider whether it may be a smarter move to let Ratu know about Danny's idol. Meanwhile, Danny lets Frannie in on the plan to use his idol for her, which she did not expect and could not fully trust because it could fall apart very easily. At the last minute, Carson let Danny know that Heidi told Yam Yam about the plan. So Danny was really worried about how trustworthy Yam Yam would be in this situation and was worried that he may let Ratu know ahead of time and that they would put their votes on Danny instead, with Danny playing his idol for Frannie and then Danny getting all of Ratu's votes plus Jam Jam. So it's definitely risky for sure. At Tribal Council, Kane kind of started the conversation about being visible in terms of the decisions you make, and because the game is important now, especially with the jury, and how it will eventually turn into to a win for each player. Lauren and the Ratu players spoke about a likely quote-unquote majority vote this week, but Danny, of course, countered this, saying that juries sometimes respect the players that are on the bottom and manage to somehow make a comeback and get to the end. Now, at this tribal, there's a lot of factors here, and this is why I do think the move, whether it's short-sighted or not, or too early or not, is definitely a very skillful move by Danny, is the fact that there's so many variables at play here. So here are these scenarios. Scenario one is the Ratu players convinced Tika to flip all of them. And of course, it's just it'd be 8-2 because Danny and Franny know about the plan. And then Danny would play his idol or not. Those are those two scenarios. The other one is that Danny is successful in getting just one Tika to flip over, which is actually what happens. This was, of course, Carolyn in the actual episode where he gets Carolyn to vote with them. Now, I do think that Jam Jam and Carson probably knew that the vote was going with Carolyn. They just decided not to make themselves probably look better for the jury. Again, I don't get this because people are going to talk on Ponderosa, but whatever. And then the kind of third scenario is that they get all of them to flip over, and they don't even need to play the idol for Franny, because she's not going to go home. They have 6 votes against 4, and they're set. And I guess kind of a fourth option is that they actually figure out, meaning Ratu figures out about this plan, puts all of their votes on Danny, and Danny goes home here because they probably have Jam Jam and Carson on their side. This is very interesting, and this is kind of the riskiest part of it. I don't know if I would have had the balls to make this move here and play the idol on somebody else at a spot in the game where there's so many people. I mean, again, this is like the merge episode really of the season, so this is the most variables that will be in the game at once. So for Danny to make a move like this is absolutely impressive. So of course, at Tribal, we see these 6 votes put on Franny. Those are all negated. That is a lot of votes negated. And then 4 votes go on Brandon. Those 4 are from all 3 Soka members, Danny, Heidi, and Franny, and then also from Carolyn. And so of course, Brandon is kind of taken out here as a giant threat in the game. It kind of breaks the game wide open and really kind of cuts the line here as Ratu versus Soka. I think this is great for the season to have 2 competing forces. It overall makes the strategy simple, easy to understand and follow, and allows for flippers, which is always fun to watch. But we'll just have to see. What do you think about this episode? Let me know down below in the comments. As always, none of this happens without you guys. And with that, so I'll talk to you guys in the next one.